Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we've played 20 fucking video games and talked about how they make us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddy Grace Webben.
And today we will be shamelessly stealing a podcast format from our good friends who don't know we exist over at the Insert Credit Podcast.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, hypothetical friend of the show. I'm sure our shows would get along. Like, they just need to meet in an elevator and then, like, have an awkward conversation. Like, we'll notice their really cool, like, pin on their backpack and, like, start a conversation and then run into each other a couple more times, eventually exchange numbers and then join a D&D group together. Like, we just haven't done that yet. And so we're going to do what they do, which is we're going to have a timer going, and we're going to change topics every 3 minutes. And each of those 3 minutes will be spent talking about one of the games that we've played. Because as of last week, we have now completed 20 games for the podcast. And that's really cool. So we're going to talk about all 20 games that we have completed, spending 3 minutes, ending each 3 minute with a rating, and then at the end we'll say which one got the highest rating and which one's got the worst rating.
To make things simple, we're basically using what you would call not approval voting. Approval voting isn't either vote yes or no. Anyway, it's a tiered approval voting system where each game we're simply ranking from 1 to 4. 1 being this is on the level of the worst games that we played on this podcast. We want to make sure we're using the whole scale, okay? So if you like every game, you should still put the ones that are the worst as 1, right? And 4 being this is the top tier of games that we played. So just 1 to 4. I got a piece of paper in front of me and a pen, so I might as well keep track. And if we add those scores up, it'll be really easy to determine at the end what the best and worst games that we played are. Nice and simple. Nothing, not using Borda, anything like that.
Nice. And that way we don't have to spend most of our time fiddling out the middle to be like, okay, is Cosmic Star Heroine like better or worse than Anachronox?
Yeah, exactly.
Discuss.
Also, FYI, for those out there, if you've ever thought of like I would love to rank all the movies I watched this year, or what are my top 20 whatevers, if you're ever having trouble with that, tier lists are so much better than ranked lists. Just divide it up into 5 tiers, That way you don't gotta decide which of your all-time favorite movies is better than the other ones, and which of the worst ones is worse than the worst ones. It's way more fun. Yeah.
I will also say some of these games I didn't play or didn't play fully.
Me too.
I'll do my best to rank them based on what I know, or I'll just say like, I can't put a number to that.
I actually wanted to make a slight suggestion. Let's rank them not just about how much do we like the game, but how much did we like the game in the context of this podcast.
Yeah. Septericor, just off quality of the game, might not be as great as us loving, then hating, then coming around to loving it again, but mostly hating it. Like that roller coaster.
Yeah. That's how I'm going to be thinking about, thinking back to that time in my life when I played it. How would I rank that vibe?
I will say
that's what I'm going with in my brain.
As far as Septericor goes, toilet dungeons have become my baseline for how good is this game? Oh man, this game sucks. If only it had a toilet dungeon.
Yeah. That's your tier
Eli,
list.
If that's the case, then you got to come back and join us for Mother 3.
Oh man, I really do want to play Mother 3. I still need to fucking finish Earthbound, but
that does, Maddy accidentally did spoil our next topic of discussion before we dive into it. Tonight will be Eli's last episode as a full co-host. He still will have friend of the podcast status and be able to pop in and do a series, an episode every now and then, but he gets his Friday nights back. So
yeah,
for a while.
For the foreseeable future, yeah, I may come back full time at some point, depending on where the dice land in my life. But yeah, as of December 3rd, I am even more obsessed with Final Fantasy XIV than I've ever been. So
Didn't think that was possible, but
yeah. So I don't know how much time I'm going to be able to free up. Like, I'm running this fight club. I'm going to be performing. I'm doing lots of RP. I'm playing a fuck ton of this game. Like, I have never no-lifed a game to the extent that I have been no-lifing Final Fantasy right now. It's bordering on unhealthy. But it's real good. It's real good. Yeah. But don't play it. Please don't play it. Because the queue times are atrocious, and I want those to go down. So don't actually play critically acclaimed
right now. Final Fantasy 14 sucks, and you should never play it. Do not play it until you hear further. Like, those of us playing the game are just saying, no, it actually sucks. Don't play it. It's It's just no reason to until further notice.
Man, I love Final Fantasy 14. Hope I can play it someday.
Really, I'm taking one for the team by not playing it.
Yeah. It especially sucks for me because Final Fantasy 14 was my, I woke up an hour early, let me hop in, do like 30 minutes of Final Fantasy before I start my day, start off on a good note. That would all be queue time right now. And I would log in, I would be like, all right, I accomplished it. I'm going home.
First thing in the morning, you should be able to get in pretty quickly. There is like a 20 to 40 person queue, but like
that's not bad.
Up until noon, you're usually good to log in for a while without too much of a wait. It's starting around noon and going until about midnight. You basically can't log in for like a couple hours. I spent 2.5 hours in queue yesterday because
holy fucking moly.
I got off work. I started logging in immediately, and I was stuck in a queue of like 3,000 people. It was ridiculous. And on top of that, they've been having problems where you can get disconnected from the queue because there's so many people ahead of you that the connection goes, timeout. And it just knocks you off. If you can reopen the game fast enough, you can retain your place in the queue. But that doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
So... yeah, it's rough.
Don't play this game that we all love and desperately wish we could play.
Please don't play it.
Yeah. Fun fact that none of y'all care about, but I'm subjecting you to it anyway. The proper name of the voting system we're using today is score voting, which was first time it was ever used was the Republic of Venice in whenever that existed. I don't know when that existed. It existed from around 697 AD to 1797 AD, and it existed until it got conquered by Napoleon. Anyway, they used it to elect their, and I don't know what this means, I just think it's funny, they used a score voting system to elect their Doge. Good old DOGE. So, yeah, that's fun fact about today's voting system.
Much score, very voting.
Wow.
Exactly.
So, without further ado, Eli, what's your favorite podcast game piece of music that we've done? You can just pick from blah, blah, blah game if you don't remember particular things, but I'll let you pick the music this week.
To Xanarkand.
To Xanarkand?
Hands down.
Dope. All right. So we are going to listen to Xanarkand and then start our timers. I do not have fancy smancy stream deck to going through my mic, so I will not be able to play the buzzer. I will just wrap us up when the 3 minutes is over.
Cool.
So All right. Going in order, our first game we get to talk about for 3 minutes is... Oh, excuse me.
That's really gross.
Good Lord.
Oh, nasty.
Are you okay? Are you going to be all right?
Yeah. Ugh. It was like baloney burps. It was gross.
Ew.
Yeah. It's nasty. Don't do that. Anywho. So yeah, the first game we're going to be discussing is to be disgusting because of my burp. The first game we're going to be discussing is Persona 3, and our time starts now.
So I'll give it a 3.
That's your score?
Yeah. I think it was a good game mostly. I did get frustrated by the mechanics a lot. I did end up having to cheat to beat it. Which, I mean, to be fair, I cheated
to set the pattern.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. Set the mood for the tone for my entire tenure at the RPG Book Club. Cheat to win. But I really liked the music. I thought the story was interesting. Very different from any other RPG that I had played up until that point. In the way the mechanics worked and with all the, I don't remember what the things are called that you summon.
Personas?
The personas?
Yes, those. Good Lord. Sorry, I thought there was some other special name for it, and my brain just died a little. I'm wasting our 3 minutes.
It's all good.
I thought it was an interesting game. Operation Babe Hunt, while it was bad, did give me a great opportunity to also set the tone for me hating games.
Yeah, I think, like, I love it because all of us every week played 8 hours of the game. Can you imagine playing 8 hours of the game for the podcast these years?
Yeah, so I'm also giving this game a 3. It's a fantastic game. We all know Persona 3 is an absolute classic. It's probably the best Persona game. But I'm still giving it a 3, not a 4, because holy shit, we have to play a lot each week.
Yeah.
And also, it's so far in the mists of the past. It occupies such a strange place in terms of ennui. Like, whenever I started playing this game, I had just moved to a new state, was living with a fiance, and the CRT was like on the floor, and I was like playing it on a mattress. Like, it was such a bizarre time in my life that I can hardly even think about it. But yeah, a lot of things have happened since then. Holy cow! 3 points for me.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it a 3 because I love the game. I still think about it frequently, which isn't a thing that normally happens, and I love that it had Operation Babe Hunt in it, because that episode is when I knew our podcast was something special, and we could take something that happened, talk about it, be real about it, respond to it, and go off for 2 hours about it. And that owns, and I loved it. So our second game is Rogue Galaxy.
1. No question. I hated that game. Now, okay, I will say to its credit, there were some fun characters. I actually was considering giving this one a 2 because the characters were pretty great at times, but the gameplay was so agonizingly frustrating for me that I just it's one of my sets the bar for bad games that we've played. A lot of times we'll be playing a game that's frustrating me, but then I'm like, well, at least it's not Rogue Galaxy.
Yeah. I'm with Eli. I enjoyed this game a lot, but in the interest of actually using our entire 4-point scale, I'm also giving it a 1, firmly in the bottom tier, although this was the first game for when this was the game that set the pattern for me, when I realized that a big part of this podcast is going to be me pogging over architecture and 3D environment design, because this game has some really good of that.
Yeah, I want to give it a 2 because I I like all of the pieces except for the level design of this game, and the plot gets a little weird at times. But like when the plot is working really well, like fucking Digo's planet is phenomenal, and I love it. Like Digo's planet also has the best level design of the whole game, and so it's just like if all of those pieces were done a little better, I would like.
Was that like sci-fi city planet?
Yeah, it was the sci-fi like mining planet with all the trains.
Oh yeah, that was by far the highlight of the game.
Yeah, and so if like because I like all of the parts, I don't think it's all the way down on a 1, even though Jerica, the whole planet, could just be cut from the game. Even if it meant we lost Lilica, because I love Lilica, but like I would be willing to lose Lilica to not have to play in Jerica ever. but
and also Jerica is like the first planet you go to after the desert planet, right?
Yeah, it's definitely the Wonderland of this game. Like, if you didn't go to Jerica first and you didn't go to Wonderland first, both of those games would be way better than they are.
Yeah.
But trying to use the whole scale, I don't know if there's any game that I like less than it. So I think I have to give it the 1 to be the baseline. But I do like it a little bit more than you guys did. So mine is like a 1+. Yours is a 1.
Nice.
So our next game is Sailor Moon: Another Story.
That one's a 3 for me. It would be a 4 if the gameplay was better, and I think the new translation elevates it to a 4.
Yeah,
but we did not play the new translation.
We did not.
Yeah, it would have been fun to. Although it had a nice character to it, but yeah, it would be fun to do that.
Yeah. So the gameplay is very, very like rudimentary kind of RPG stuff. They have the link techniques, which is cool. That wasn't something that you saw very often in old JRPGs, but I mean, it was a fairly simple game with a fairly simple plot and a bad translation. I still love the game because of nostalgia reasons. I'll give it a 3+. Like Sam gave Rogue Galaxy a 1+.
Yeah. I was gonna give this one a 2, but Eli, actually I bumped it up to a 3 while you were talking, because 3 for a few reasons. 1, the gameplay was way too simple and the game was too easy, but I liked how at the end of the game we actually looked at some FAQs and realized that there were a bunch of absolutely insane mechanics that we had not understood properly because the game didn't explain it all. Secondly, it did give us our language of referring Moonhead. Really loved hearing the two of y'all, especially Eli, but also Sam, tell me all of the insane shit that happens in that fucking manga and anime. Like, there is so much crazy, outrageously off-the-wall horseshit that happens, and it's so stupendously complicated. So hearing you be like, oh yeah, this character is actually this character, but time travel, and then blah-de-blah-de-blah, and then they merged and formed this one, and then this happened. I'm just like, I have no idea what the hell's going on, and it's great. So that experience for me is a solid 3.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 2, just because the second, third, and fourth chapter, so like not counting the first, but those 3 chapters are hard and rough and kind of take it back a little bit for me. When you have a full party and you can do the link techniques and all of that stuff, it's really fun and really awesome, especially if we would have known to have been using them the whole time. And I also love that unlike every other RPG ever, the stats are exponential and not linear. So if you level up like 3 times, you now one-hit kill everything. And that's nuts
It's
and
pretty
awesome.
insane and great. Yeah.
So that brings us to, speaking of things that are insane but great, that brings us to Xenogears.
I want to go first on this one.
Okay.
So this game, of course, was my personal game. It's one that I wanted us to play. This game also is notable in that during our live finale, I came out as trans during the podcast, which was fun. And like the two people who were listening live at the time, I'm sure were having. I remember one person was listening live and then dropped off the cast before we got to that point. And I was like, no, I think I actually moved it. I was going to come out at the end of the episode, but I think I actually came out like halfway through because I was like, I want to make sure that everyone hasn't dropped off of the recording before we do it. But also, yeah, Xenogears, I feel like I'm giving out so many threes. I gotta give it a 3 again, just because this game is amazing, but also it's stupid and sucks, but also it rules. But also, this is the point where a lot of the time it was too long. Once again, this is also the point during which we realized that our format for the podcast wasn't quite working because our episodes just kept getting so fucking long during this season. Like every episode was like 2 hours. Oh yeah, Sailor Moon.
We have like a bit of a come to Jesus moment about it.
Sailor Moon was also the season in which my my spouse left me, which was fun. So Xenogears was a fun time for my life. So solid 3 for me, mostly because of the troubles we had in like doing the podcast.
What about you, Eli?
I'm gonna go with a 2 because that game frustrated the hell out of me a lot of times.
You don't like based jumping puzzles with rudimentary polygon?
I know.
graphics?
I know, it's weird. And also, like, the fact that there was a bug or something with, like, the save point where it wouldn't work if I hit an encounter on top of it. And that was really annoying, and it kept happening. Yeah, I mean, and that whole, like, second disc story breakdown that happened
second disc
was a
is
little
funny
jarring.
because, like, I feel like our notes were just, like, took as long as the actual game because the second disc is just cutscenes almost. It was okay. It was by no means the worst game that we played, and there were some really good points. But for the most part, it just wasn't a game for me.
Yeah, I am going to give it a 3. I think that the game is a masterpiece, and it's a masterpiece because it's flawed, and those flaws bring it down to a 3 to make it, because it is super frustrating, and the second disc doesn't really exist. And also, my Raspberry Pi crashed when I was marathoning to catch up, and I lost like 15 hours of gameplay. So the last disc, I didn't even get to play what little gameplay there was. So I think that it's great, but I think that it is definitely a 3 for me.
Nice.
Our next game is Legend of Dragoon. What do you guys think about this one?
I give it a 4, honestly. I thought it was an incredible game. I mean, voice acting issues aside,
Yeah.
like, this cannot be, will always stick with me. So, I mean, like, that's not entirely a bad thing.
Yeah.
I thought the story was great. I was fucking blown away by goddamn
Lavitz.
Lavitz. Yes, I was going to call him Albert, but no, Albert was the one who replaced Lavitz. And of course we got great Kenisms like "just the Queen's ass."
Just the Queen's ass is so good.
And it was, and like, it was really exciting to me when I finally figured out how to do that ability and like time it properly. So like, I really enjoyed that game. I had a lot of fun playing it, despite even the frustrations that I had with it. Enough that I'm comfortable giving it a 4.
What about you, Maddy?
It was one of my.
I feel bad doing this because it is a fine game with many positive qualities, but I gotta stick to my guns and say Legend of Dragoon is a 2. Okay, it's very sweet I was pogging at some of the town designs, but the battle system is boring and stupid, and it made me bored. And the plot is dumb. I'm a hater. I'm not going to stop being a hater. However, shout out to its town designs and its soundtrack. Shout outs.
I mean, to be fair, I've hated plenty of games that you two have loved. So.
Yeah. I unsurprisingly, I'm giving it a 4. So I didn't originally want to put it in my RPGs because I thought that more people had played it, because it's like the number 2 RPG on the PS1 next to Final Fantasy VII in America. In Japan, not even close, but in America, for some reason, like, it's sold super well, which I think is crazy. But I was expecting it to also not hold up when I was playing it, and it surprisingly held up in ways I didn't even remember. Like, I remembered, like, loving the battle system, ironically, and things like that. But then, like, Legend of Dragoon is where we learned the idea of hang out and talk to your friends dungeons, which is now, like, I need it in every single game. If there's not a part where your party separates on a boat and you go around and you talk to people on a boat, it's not a good game. Like,
that's true. This game did set the tone for that one, and it's every time it shows up in a subsequent game, it's like, yeah, they're doing that thing that we like.
Yeah, it's really great. Also really great is Final Fantasy X.
Oh god, yeah, that one's a 4 for me. It was, and I didn't beat it. I unfortunately could not best Seymour, and I did have some gameplay frustrations.
Was it Seymour that you fell out on, or was it?
Oh no, it was Jack. Or
would you say that you were like Seymour?
It was the final boss. Yeah. I did manage to beat Seymour. That's right. The Xenos of Final Fantasy X. Mm-hmm. I'm going to compare everything to Final Fantasy XIV from now on for the rest of my life. You can't stop me. I cannot be contained. Yeah, I thought the story was great. I thought it had some really memorable moments. I thought that the characters were all fantastic, and the outfits are dumb. But that's part of what I like about it, because I love bitching about those outfits.
Yeah.
And Lulu is my wife forever.
Yeah, I'm going to have to keep this one real short because I am in love with this game, and I love it more now even than I did when we played it for the pod. I haven't replayed it, I think about it frequently. It is an incredible masterpiece that hits me real hard in a lot of ways. Like, reading this game through a personal lens, a personal emotional lens, reading it through a spiritual lens, reading it through a political, historical lens, it's an absolute masterpiece. Also, remembering the funny thing where I was leading the notes on this, and I started having a lot of fun with it. And if y'all recall, for our opening, we were going to do a double length. No, we weren't originally going to do a double length opening. For our opening, we had to record our opening episode three times because of technical issues, and it sucked because I had this beautifully written, like I wasn't just saying what happened in the game. I was giving these like kind of elaborately written prose that I felt very proud of. Kind of like pseudo towing the line between being a little bit jokey and then being like almost like a Cormac McCarthy-ass sort of style of writing. And yet we did it twice, but each time we lost it for technical reasons. So when we got to the third episode, if you recall, we didn't want to do the same thing a third time, so we did a double length of the first two sections of game. So I had to throw out my beautifully written prose that I'd written and just blast through the first two chapters of the game as quickly as possible. So those of y'all, so no one will ever hear that except for the two of you, which is funny. But I enjoyed doing it. So FF10 is such a special game.
Maddy left me with 3 seconds, so all I'm going to say really quick is this is the game that opened my eyes to the "my best friend is the chosen one" trope, and how that's good, actually, because this game like expounds on that in a really cool way. And when I first got to it, I was like, why do we care about Tidus at all? Like, Yuna is the main character, but the game then is like, no, like, what does that mean? And goes into it really good, and I really, really like that.
So Sam, think carefully. If you give this game a 4, then that means it will have the highest possible score. So you can either do that, or you can give us some room for some wiggle room by giving it a 3.
I am fine with giving it a 4. I do believe it earns the 4. I also think that there are 2 other games on here that will probably get a perfect score as well. So we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, we'll see.
One of those potential games is Dragon Quest V: Hand of the Heavenly Bride.
It's a 4. It was a really fucking good game. I love SNES era RPGs. I liked the mechanics. I liked the story. I love time travel shit. I eat that up. It was just really good all around. The music was cute and fun, and the characters were cute and fun, and just, it was great. I really love it. I honestly, it's made me want to play more Dragon Quest games, but I can't. I'm married to Final Fantasy XIV.
Do it. I understand, but still do it.
I, in a weird turn of events, will go not last, so I'll just cut Maddy off. So, but I just loved the fact that Maddy was like, there's a big twist in this game that everyone has agreed since 1995 to just not talk about the twist, and they're not going to talk about it whatsoever. It's going to be a big thing. We're not going to do it. And then 4 twists that I felt could have been that twist happened in this game, and each one was like, oh wow, that's awesome. And then when the actual twist happened, I was like, oh my god, this game is a revelation. And it was super cool. And the fact that, like, I could have a end of disc 1 of Final Fantasy VII experience with something that had not been, like, absorbed out into the ether. Like, when I played Final Fantasy VII, I knew what happened at the end of disc 1, so I wasn't surprised by it when it happened, but I was able to do that with this game, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting that this, it's almost a blessing that Dragon Quest isn't as popular as it deserves to be in the West, because that means that the incredibly amazing twists in this game are not common knowledge, which is fun. I'm actually giving this game a 3. I know that's very surprising, but on replaying it, I decided that even though I love Dragon Quest with all my heart, 5 has a few issues that keep me from honestly giving it, like it is a distinct tier below some other Dragon Quest games for reasons I won't go into, because we're probably out of time.
But is it a distinct tier lower than the other podcast games? Because
I think that I feel comfortable putting this game on a lower tier than Final Fantasy X, yes.
Okay.
Cool. Fair enough.
Interesting. We have 10 extra seconds, so Gudian, the Slime Knight, is best character in Dragon Quest history.
He's very good.
Don't ask.
Wait, hold on. No, I'm sorry. What's her name? The third wife who sucks is the best.
Deborah? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. She sucks. Loved her. Okay. Next game with a probably not even close to perfect score is Cosmic Star Heroine.
2. It's mainly because I don't remember a whole lot of it. Like, it just was not a memorable game to me.
I believe all 3 of us agreed that our big complaint was that the plot was just fluffy silliness, and it would have been fun if it would take itself goddamn seriously for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely remember that part. I remember the gameplay being kind of boring, too. It didn't feel very revolutionary or anything.
I really liked the battle system. I just wish they would have made it a card-based system, because it was already really close, and if they would have done that, the battle system would have been even better. I also like that there's no RNG in it. Like, it is what it is, which I thought was really cool. And the battle theme is the best battle theme in any of the games that we've played.
It was a good battle theme. That's true.
I love the crap out of it. So I still think it's a 2. I think it's. I don't think I would like it more than Sailor Moon, but it does have some cool gameplay and musical things. I would like Zeboyd Games to care about what they're doing and make a game and own up to it. And they haven't done that yet because their follow-up to this game was another fucking Cthulhu game about Christmas. So one of these days, it'll happen.
I'm torn. I've been oscillating between 2 and 3. The battle system is legitimately excellent, and you've got to give it a lot of... the formalist in me especially wants to give it so much credit.
Maybe I just don't remember enough about it.
But I think Sam has convinced me that my spiritual opposition to Zeboyd's entire fucking ethos prevents me from giving it more than a 2. It's like y'all, just make something. Be confident, man. It makes me sad. It's like it comes off as insecurity. It's like you need to believe in yourself and try to make a good game, and don't. I think this is the metaphor that Sam used. It's like when someone is like trying to. It's like when like a nerdy, stereotypical like nerdy boy is trying to talk to a girl, and they keep like trying to make like self-deprecating jokes because they're insecure. It's like, buddy, just be yourself, right? Like, I'm just like, this game has such a fucking rock hard battle system, and also some cool world design ideas and good graphics and music. Like,
and the fucking giant robot dungeon. The giant robot dungeon was fucking amazing.
Please just pretend? If you're not going to try and convince me to care about the game, then I'm not going to care about the game. So yeah, I got to give it a 2 for spiritual reasons.
Maybe that's why I don't remember it, because it just couldn't convince me to care.
The game is constantly telling you, oh, we're just having fun here. Don't worry too much about it. And I'm like, well, okay, if you're telling me that, then sure.
Yeah. So that leads us into our next game, which is Lost Odyssey for the Xbox 360 video game console.
So this was a point in time where I started having a lot of bullshit coming up in my life, and I didn't finish the game, and I didn't even play it in the first place. I was just watching it on YouTube. The first of many dramatic events that happened in my life over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
however long we've been fucking doing this.
We've all been on a journey.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
I didn't even finish watching that one.
Yeah. But the thing about implosions, Eli.
yeah. Stop. Don't ever talk to me or my son again. My son being Jansen in this case. I love him. He's great.
So good.
Just such an amazing character. I'm gonna give it a 3 because I did enjoy what I experienced of it, and Jansen is one of my top tier characters from the games that we've played.
Yeah. Oh, what about you, Maddy?
I'm torn between 3 and 4. I do love the game. I think I'm going to give our experience of playing it a 3, because I think we all had a lot of trouble actually playing the damn thing, and also we didn't do any of the stories. Now look, I get why. I didn't do them either. I'm equally guilty. And the game is still great without the stories, but it's just funny that due to like our podcast format and also the way that our lives were busy, we didn't get to talk about one of the best parts of the entire game at all, which is funny. I'm still oscillating between 3 and 4. I'll decide once you're done. But gosh, there's some great parts that we loved so much.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 4 because it has Dragon Quest turns in its battle system. It has Final Fantasy IX skill acquisition, and it has Jansen, and it has Seth, and it has what's the hot girl's name? The other hot girl? No, the other one.
Oh shit!
The one who's Sarah Strong. Oh, yeah. Sarah. Oh, Sarah.
Yeah, and
it rhymes with Tara.
Yeah, and it has.
Well, no, that's not Tara Strong. Tara Strong is blue hair.
She's Seth.
That's right. Yeah.
But it has so many freakish highs, and the few stories that I did read were like heartbreakingly brilliant, and I loved literally everything about this game. I agree with Bernard that it's probably the best, objectively best JRPG out there. It's great, and
maybe I'll actually play it someday.
You know what? I'm thinking about the wonderful family relations that this game explores, and the way that like individual family stories are situated within and are distinct from, but also conditioned by like their history and culture and politics, and just thinking about those adorable little grandchildren and how much I love both of them. It's like the best Palom and Porum in video game history. Yeah, I'm giving it a 4. I'm
better than the original Palom and Porum.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, the stereotype is that anytime you have like little kids in a game, especially if they're like a pair of them, they're usually really annoying. And God, the Cook and Mac are so good.
Yeah,
I did like those kids a lot.
There's also a funeral minigame, which best of all time.
And shout outs to the phenomenal vocal performance by the lead character who plays Kaim.
Yeah,
it's hard to do the whole like stoic type character. Like it's hard to do that as far as acting goes, but they nailed it.
Yeah. Speaking of things that were nailed, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.
4. I fucking loved it. I think it's both interesting and funny, and like they use humor in the right ways, and it's not just like all played for laughs. I like some degree, like I'm not a huge visual novel fan, but I like that kind of visual novel where there's like some interaction and you actually get to do stuff. You know, the choices matter to some extent and that sort of thing. And I ship Wrightworth.
I'm also 4. What a phenomenal game. Part of me wants to give it a 3 only because later games in the series are better, but that's silly. The game is fantastic. Holy shit. This is the second game that we talked about on this list that is translated by the absolute fucking Chad Alexander O.
Smith.
Right?
Smith.
Alexander O. Smith. The first was Final Fantasy X. Holy shit! One of the greatest localizers of all time.
He did a damn good job.
I think what pushes this game to a 4 for me, in addition to everything you said, and also like how amazing the big Gumshoe, how much we love Dick Gumshoe, and also how much we love your so shitty great. Like friend character. How great he is.
Larry Butts!
Yeah, Larry Butts. Like, that's all great. What really pushes it into 4 for me, though, is its gobsmackingly good soundtrack.
The music is so fucking great.
Vians, there's a certain kind of music that you expect from Vians. Like, Danganronpa has Vian-style music. I can't explain exactly what it is, but most Vians tend to have, like, chill electronica-type music. But every track in this game could be in a Castlevania game or a JRPG. It sounds like video game music, and it's funny having that dramatic driving, like, again, this sounds like a Castlevania stage or an RPG town or an RPG boss battle. To have that kind of music in a VN is very cute and just, wow, what a good one.
Yeah, I was not here for that one. Our good friend Francesco, JRPG T, stood in for me on that one because I had a baby during that. So
that's right.
Baby is great. So I'm giving it a 4. I also played the game while I was holding the baby, which elevates most games. That's probably why I like Star Ocean 5. But
so you did play
Baby's top tier.
The game is freaking phenomenal. Like everyone said, like you guys said, it's freaking great, and it's an easy 4 for me. Another easy 4 for me is East 1 and 2 Chronicles.
I don't. Did I finish this one? I don't remember. I might have. You know what? I might have cheated and watched videos. I think I actually owned up to that because I remember like being frustrated by the gameplay and just being like, you know what, fuck it, I can't play this one. I'm gonna end up hating it just because the combat system is really like not great for me. Because I remember the combat system, it was like some sort of active combat system.
It's definitely weird.
Yeah.
You have to like bump into people, and it's really fast paced.
Yeah, that was it. And I was just like, I can't fucking do this. And so I ended up watching it, and as I recall, it was okay. I'm gonna give it a 2 because I truly don't remember a whole lot about it.
Good. I'm glad you gave it a 2 because that means we have some variety here. I'm giving it another 4. It's especially for me because I played a different version than y'all, if you recall, and the comparing of different versions was really cute and fun.
That's right. You played the Sega, right?
I played the Master System version of the original, then East 2, I had to switch to the East 1 and 2 game, which is a combined one game of both of them for the TurboGrafx CD.
Okay.
And the graphics and music are phenomenal. Also, the game is... I think East 1, as I said when we first talked about it, has the simplicity, the simplistic but solid architectural like cohesion of like it's like up there with Dragon Quest 1 as far as like a game that knows exactly what the fuck it is. It's a meal made of only a couple ingredients that are perfectly balanced. And then East 2 has wild shit like having half of the entire game be a talking dungeon, basically. Like what a wild game. Boy, one day I would love to play more East games.
Yeah, I love East 1 and 2. I didn't play it with the podcast. Again, I was having a baby instead. But I played it like the month before we started the podcast, and it was revelatory, just like Dragon Quest 1 was, like Maddy said. Like it's they do so much with so little. Meanwhile, Falcom JDK Band is just fucking wailing the whole goddamn game, and it's so good. The music is fantastic. The gameplay is great, and I almost gave this a 3 because some of the boss fights in East 2 are stupid, and I had to look up speedrun strats because actually trying to beat it the way you're supposed to, I couldn't come close. So I found cheesy speedrun strats, but I think it's still a 4 for me because it's just... It's a good-ass 20 hours a game if you play both of them back-to-back. Speaking of another spectacular 20-something hours of game, Chrono Trigger.
4. It absolutely lived up to the hype of people telling me that I needed to play it. And I avoided spoilers for the last 20 plus years that it had been out. I don't know how I managed it because Chrono Trigger is an extremely popular game. But it's an extremely popular game for a reason. The music is great, characters are great, story is fucking phenomenal. I enjoyed the gameplay. I really, really loved that one. And at some point I'd like to revisit it. I'm so used to not playing games that people are like, oh my God, you gotta play this, you gotta play this, you gotta play this. Because if people are yelling at me to do something, I'm less inclined to do it. So, but yeah, I really fucking love Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm easy. I'm very quick. I'm an easy 4 on this. I actually was surprised by that because I came into this thinking I love this game, but not as much as most people do. I was expecting it to be a 3 or even 2, but wow, is it better than I remembered in every single way. The pacing. I played it on a emulator with a bunch of good filters so that it looked beautiful. The music I still think is a little overrated, the soundtrack. But mostly the plot had so much of the thematic ideas that are in Chrono Cross that I thought were kind of invented in Chrono Cross are actually in Chrono Trigger in more subtle ways. It's sort of it's not actually a super happy, upbeat anime game. It's got a strain of melancholy, a strain of of ennui to it that I had never picked up on earlier in my life. I guess now that I'm an older, more mature person, I can notice that the game actually is a little bit more mature than I'd given it credit for. So not only am I giving it a 4, but I'm giving it a very surprised 4. What a great game.
Yeah, I am also giving it a 4. When I played it, I really enjoyed it. I was playing the DS version, so if I was going just off what I played during the podcast, it would probably be a 3. Like, the DS version translation is fine. I agree with a lot of people that it might be the definitive way to play it. I just missed the Woolseyisms, and I think that elevates it. Like, my favorite anime is Digimon, and Digimon is not accurate to the text, but in a good way, and Chrono Trigger, I feel, is the same way, and that makes it super awesome. But the reason I'm giving it a 4 is because when I approached Eli to come on the podcast, I was like, what RPGs do you like? And Eli said, well, my favorite one is Final Fantasy VI, and I really haven't played one since. So getting the Final Fantasy VI team's follow-up to Final Fantasy VI and watching Eli fall in love with it, and it actually being like all the things that Eli wanted, and being able to see that happen in real time was just impeccable and awesome. So
it was fun having a game where all three of us were just loving it the whole time. That was nice.
Yeah. It was really great, and it gave me a chance to not be the guy who hates games.
It was great. Speaking of games that I like but also hate, Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc.
Honestly, I have to go with a 4 for this one because I became obsessed with the story. To the point that I like, if my baseline is like, if I'm going and looking up information on a wiki about what's happening and like actually like looking into the characters and trying to find out more information about the games outside of that one, like, because I don't know when I'm going to get to playing any of the other Danganronpa games, but like if I'm paying attention outside of actually playing the game, then that's usually a good thing.
Yeah.
And while some of the gameplay was kind of frustrating for me, overall it wasn't too bad. It was a little unintuitive at times. But I got through it. I mean, I made it through the entire game without having to watch videos. And I really love the characters. I thought the story was really interesting. I'm into like gritty horror stuff that's also funny and weird. And it was great. It was a good time. I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 3, and this is a weird 3 for me because I think that Danganronpa 1 is impeccable and flawless, but just going off of like the tier list, I think I like it Xenogears. I don't think I like it Legend of Dragoon, even though when I played it I just played it casually back while we were playing Legend of Dragoon. I was hollering the whole time to Maddy and Bernard about how fucking great it was. And, like, I still think it's a 3, even though I love it. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh, my least favorite Zelda game is still a 10 out of 10. So it's like my least favorite Danganronpa game is a 3 instead of a 4. But that's still amazing.
I'm a solid 3 on this one. No particular issue with it. It's just the game rules overall, but I think it's got a billion little things that just make it not quite there for me. Things that we discussed during the season. That's I don't have too much to say about it. It's, Danganronpa. We all love Danganronpa. Have strong feelings about it. Solid 3.
Yeah. Since we have 10 seconds left, Eli, Maddy and Bernard both have said this sentence to me before. They have said that Danganronpa 1 is a revelation and it's the best game they've ever played, and then they played Danganronpa 2. and Danganronpa 2 blows it out of the water. So it's like number 1 is so good that it sucks in comparison to 2 and 3.
Yeah, okay, I think 2 is, as Sam pointed out while playing it to me, actually very rocky. It's up and down. I think it's a better game, but in a way that is like, it's got things that are way better and also things that are way worse. It's a much more weird and complex game, even though it's also got a lot of frustrations. 3 though, 3 is just absolutely jaw-dropping from start to finish. Holy shit. And unfortunately, you can't skip 2 and go right to 3. So, regardless of the quality of 2, which might be better than 1 or it might not be, holy shit, 3 is just a game I cannot recommend to anybody enough, except for the fact that you absolutely cannot play without playing 1 and 2 first. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Our next game on the list is going to be divisive, but it is Chrono Cross for the PlayStation 1 video game console.
Very divisive.
One of you two go first.
4. Even this is the worst 4 on the list, but again, I just feel so very, very deeply and strongly about so many things on this game. I also streamed this game. This was the first game on the list that I played as a Twitch streamer. And that was really, really fun. I had a really good time making up nicknames and doing that whole thing, learning about like streaming and stuff with people. I did a special thing for the finale where I wrote things and expressed my feelings in some deep ways. I connected very significantly with this game. Also, this game reflected the times we were in. We played this game during the I think one of the deepest, darkest portions of like, we're really in pandemic times, you know? And the game's vibes, I think, reflected that in many ways. Again, I connected strongly with it as far as like I think playing Chrono Cross was one of the essential experiences of like the year 2020 for me. I may not necessarily give it a 4 if we played it in 2019 or 2021. But I mean, I just made a Twitter thread about this game like 3 weeks ago because I was just thinking about it. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I am going to give it a 3 because, like, I think it's similar to Xenogears. I liked a lot of it, but I had a lot of problems with it, and my I was going to even give it a 2 because I have a whole lot of problems with it. The whole time we were playing, I kind of was I'm not mad, I'm disappointed in like how they laid out the plot things, and they could have just made it more of a sequel to Chrono Trigger nominally early on to then make all of the great the last half of this game is phenomenal, and the first half kind of it spins its wheels a little. And
it definitely does.
And I like the parts that I loved and the parts that I didn't love kind of were conflicting enough to give it a 2, but this game was the joke that I had thought of when we got to Final Fantasy X. We should do Final Fantasy X and then Chrono Trigger so that we can do a sequels that nobody likes as much as the originals block and do Chrono Cross versus X2, and that was great.
I'm torn. This is the reason why I said you two should go first, because I can't decide between a 2 or a 3. Mm-hmm. Because when it did finally get to a later point, it did get decently good. It wasn't Chrono Trigger enough for me for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that is a complaint that has been voiced by many a person and is pretty done to death. Mm-hmm. Fuck it. I'll be generous. I'll give it a 3.
Give me about 3 seconds because I'm considering downgrading to 3.
I might upgrade it to a 4 because there's a reptite in a hooker dress in one of the backgrounds. And
all right, yeah, you know what? 4. Yeah,
No,
it deserves it.
I'm giving it a 4 minus, but now I'm thinking about so many of the characters I love so much and the weird subplots that I'm still on 4.
Awesome.
I'm cool with 3.
Cool. So are you 4 or 3, Sam?
I'm 3. The 4 was a joke.
You were joking. Got it.
Speaking of none of these things, our next game was Lunar, the Silver Star.
I'd say 3. I'm gonna give this another 3. It was good. I enjoyed it. I thought the characters were good. I thought the music was good. It's not bad by any means. It's just not striking me as one that is really like top tier for me.
Yeah.
3. I don't really have anything super important to say about it.
Yeah, that kind of sums up my entire feeling for the game as a whole. Like, I really liked the game, but it was just a game. And, like, if I had played it back in the 90s when it was one of, like, the 3 games that were available to us on the PS1, I probably would have loved it. I probably would have loved the shit out of it. Just like everyone that I've met that is a huge Lunar fan, they asked for Final Fantasy VII for Christmas and were given Lunar instead, and they fell in love with it. And its good parts are good. There were a lot of things that were really cute and fun, and I liked the characters a lot. But in the end, there was a bad emperor that was trying to do bad things, and we went and we punched the emperor with the power of friendship, and then the guy got the girl at the end. It's kind of very by the books, even though it's a good book. It's like the definition of a 3, I think, for me.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with 2. I did play a different version, which was fun, but also it was very confusing at times because our versions were so stupendously different, which I guess is actually more of a good thing than a bad thing. Overall, it's just like the battle system was just weird and not quite there. The skill curve was absolutely insane. Graphics had some nice ones, but whatever. Yeah, it was just a big mixed bag of good, bad, confusing, and weird. Shout outs to our guests for that season, though. The Games as Lit guy. That's right. Other Sam. Sam was his name. Games as Lit guy was awesome. Really enjoyed having him on the show, but I'm going to ignore that because it'll mess up my score. So I'll go with that too. Fun fact before we go on to this game. We have used every score on the scale from 3 to 12 except for 4, 5, and 7. Those are the numbers we haven't used. 4, 5, and 7.
We're about to get there.
we have used 3, 6, 8, 9, 10, 10, and 11, and 12. We have tended towards the high side, which at first I was like, we're doing like the game reviewer thing where we get everything high scores. But no, most of the games we played are fucking dope. So, I think that there's not an even distribution of the best games we've played to the worst games that we've played. So, fun facts.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome. So, yeah, awesome. Let me make a note that we're back. So yeah, the next game on our list is Septerracore.
Oh, 4, hands down. No! God, no, it's a 1. Yeah, gee. What, me? No, never. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dream of it. It did have toilet dungeons, so it had that going for it. God, that game, first of all, it was a nightmare to start playing in the first place.
That's right.
That was such a pain in the ass. I will say, Septerracore happened around the time that I got together with my wonderful girlfriend, Jen. And I'm very happy to have her in my life. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversry next month.
Wow, it feels like it was just yesterday.
I know.
Yeah, that's because Septerracore took 15 weeks to complete.
Right.
God, I forgot it took so long.
Yeah, so many
was so
nights
painful.
of me having to like stream for 8 fucking hours of clicking my way through dungeons. Like, Christ.
It was, and I was cheating. I cheated throughout that entire fucking game, and it was still just so painful. Every moment was painful.
Yeah. I'm giving it a 1, but I am giving it a 1+, just like Rogue Galaxy, which then makes both of them a 1 because those are my only ones on the list. So the pluses cancel out. But still, like, I liked all of the pieces of it, and I still say if somebody would make an RPG Maker remake of this game, it would be like easily a 3 out of 4. Like, all of the pieces are great. The biggest thing that draws it back is the painfully slow animations and the obtuse, huge, sprawling dungeons of it all. Like, if the dungeon design was better and the fights didn't take literal 30 minutes of just watching all your people jump in at the same time, if it just flashed and took you to a battle scene, it would be great. And the story is bonkers and stupid, but like in a way that I like, and it is so close to being a 3, but all of the garbage that comes with it being a game from the late 90s on the
Wait,
PC.
you're giving it a 1 or a 2?
A 1. It is all the way down to a 1.
The voice acting wasn't great either.
I have to give it a 2. Just because I cannot possibly give a game a 1 where it's got such a vision to it, despite it being fucking stupid. It's got that Marty O'Donnell music, even though there's like 8 tracks. It's got the voice actor for Halo. The main character of Halo, is a character in the game. I had some good time streaming it. The long, outrageously stretched out dungeons gave me adequate time to chat with my streamers, including, I'm not going to give shout outs, but including one that I haven't messaged in a really long time, and I feel bad, and I might go message them right now, actually. Be like, hey, sorry I don't stream anymore, we should be friends. But I also, towards the end, started playing classical music on Spotify to my streamers, even though that could theoretically get me banned from Twitch, but I figured no one's going to be paying enough attention to the copyrights for this classical music. It was an adventure, that's for sure. It was a slog and an experience that I will never forget, even if it was not a particularly positive one, so I gotta give it a 2.
So our next game on the list is Brave Story: New Traveler.
I liked this one. I liked this one pretty well. I don't know if I liked it enough to give it a 4, but I enjoyed what I did with the game, and this was one of the few that was the reason I had my Vita. That one in I think I got the Vita specifically for Chrono Cross.
Mm-hmm. And now you have it for Danganronpa 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's true. If I ever stop playing Final Fantasy XIV long enough, which I probably won't, I have the new Pokemon games, and I've barely touched them because Final Fantasy XIV. But yeah, I'll give it a 3+. I thought it was fun. I thought it had an engaging story. I thought it had good characters. Yeah. I don't really have anything specific to say about it.
I'm giving it
What did you give
3.
it, Eli?
3+.
3, okay.
Yeah. I'm also giving it a 3. When I liked it, I loved it, but there was a point partway through where, to get back to the level where I would love it, I would have to do a lot of grinding, and I didn't feel like grinding, so I just put in cheat codes to give me max stats, and it still wasn't instant win, because of course not. And
I think I had to do the same thing. And
I was really like I said, all the parts that I loved. I didn't love the whole thing, so I think it's a solid 3 for me.
I think the only thing stopping me from giving this game a 4 is the fact that, like, we played Final Fantasy X and Phoenix Wright and Chrono Cross. Okay, man. So like, I adored this game. I liked it more and more as it went on. It's like nothing about it jumps out at you super strongly. It's just like, it's nice, it's chill, it's well designed, it's beautiful.
It's very beautiful.
Like, it's like perfectly executed on every level. The writing, especially the NPC writing, but also the character writing, it's just lovely. Like I don't even think I have a criticism of the game. It's just that it didn't. The games that I have listed as 4s are not just, with the exception of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, which I have no emotional connection to, it just rules. Every other game on this list that I'm giving a 4 is like, I've got some very powerful feelings about it, right? And this is just like everything about it owns, but I think I gotta give it the 3 instead of the 4, which is a shame, but yeah.
Yeah. Our next game is Tales of Symphonia.
I think this one was a 4 for me. I really enjoyed it. I liked the characters. I liked the twists and turns. I mean, I saw Remiel being evil coming, but that's not necessarily a bad thing for me, because a lot of times, like, I have trouble with foreshadowing. I don't know if it's because my ADHD doesn't let me pay attention, or I just, like, I have such a strong ability to suspend disbelief that I kind of get lost. Yeah. At times.
When the villain is like, I definitely didn't poison the water hole. You're like, well, he said he didn't do it.
Yeah.
So, I believe him.
I'm too trusting
here.
Yeah, I'm way too trusting. But, like, to me, like, if I can see that kind of thing coming, like, I think it's good, because I feel very smart when that happens. Mm-hmm. And so, like, when Remiel was doing all this, oh, I'm your father shit, I was like, are you though? Are you? And it was another one of those, your best friend is the chosen one, you are not. And I thought that was pretty cool. And also, one of my friends in Final Fantasy XIV dressed up as
Lloyd?
What was... No, not Lloyd. It was the chosen one from Zealous. He dressed up as Zealous for Halloween on his Catboy, and it was a really, really cute costume.
That's dope.
Yeah, I think I linked it to you in the host chat. Yeah, like there was a lot of stuff that stuck out about that to me. I did have frustrations with, like, the random dialogue stuff. And trying to figure out where the fuck I was going, but those were easily overcome frustrations, and it didn't affect the experience too heavily for me. Plus, I was cheating because I had a save file from the internet, and that was great.
All right, Maddy, what about you? I'm giving it a 3. No comment. Go ahead. We're out of time.
I had a hunch it was going to be 4-3-2. I'm giving it a 2. I like so many things about it, but it's just a mess. It's just a mess. Sometimes it's a mess in a good way. I love the section, that first half, that section that was super, super duper open-ended. It was so complexly put together that I loved. It had this really gorgeous little arc where it had this story, and you collect the MacGuffins, and there's some big twists. And then it just, like, kept going. And it kept going. And it kept going. And by the end, I was like, what is the structure of this game? What is the arc? What is the plot? What are the themes? I just don't know. The whole game was just a big question mark for me in terms of understanding what the hell it's doing. So it was almost like it was undercutting itself at every moment. Like,
it did seem to meander a bit.
Yeah. So I like so many things about it. And the battle system was the same thing. It's like, I can see what the ingredients are here, but they're not coming together. And Sam explaining so many things about, like, how it differs from other games in the series makes it click more. We're like, yeah, they were just... It's the same recipe, but they weren't executing it as well as they have in other games in the series, which helped me understand more of what I was experiencing. Yeah, I don't know. Good effort, everybody. But I gotta give this one a 2.
Yeah. Speaking of good effort, Anachronox. So the first half of Anachronox, I think, is a solid 3, maybe even potentially a 4. But they
Boy, did it lose the plot, apparently.
Or rather, it never found the plot.
Yeah. Yeah, like all the setup for the plot is great. So like all the episodes that Eli was here for, so Eli's score is probably going to be higher than everything else. But all the things that Eli were here for was great, and then nothing else happened for the rest of the game, and it just wasted our fucking time. And it brought it similarly to Cosmic Star Heroine, it like stopped having like faith in itself to make 3 jokey dungeons in a row. And I'm just like, I if you would have cut the jokey dungeons out and finished the plot, because it ends on a cliffhanger that they've never resolved, if they would have just, instead of doing jokes, finished the plot, it would have been an easy 3, but it is a 2 for me.
It's a 3 for me. I liked what I played.
Yes, we did it. We used number 7. Now we 2, 2, 3. None of our games scored 7, and we finally hit 7. Go on, Eli.
Congratulations to us. Yeah, I liked what I played. I thought it was entertaining. I thought the gameplay at times was a little annoying, but I mean, it wasn't hard, so that's in its favor for me. And like even navigating, like I had some difficulties at times, but like it was pretty easy to get through. And there was a lot of good humor in it that I enjoyed. I'm not going to be playing past where I did, because from everything I've heard, not worth it.
Yeah, you're not missing much.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things about this game that I enjoyed the hell out of. 3D environments, graphics in general. It would have been better if it was just an adventure game, as we've discussed many times. Mm-hmm. But really, the main issue is just that plot. It's just that it felt like they took forever setting up the plot, but it was like, maybe it's a slow burn, but it was just like, no, the game never established what it was about or why I should care, which is a shame, because I enjoyed a lot of things about it. It had a lot of cute little bits. Like Sam said, if they just finished the plot, or even better, if it had been a game that was literally twice as, like, yeah, if it twice as long. Like Dragon Quest VII, for example, is a game which is mostly self-contained episodes that have nothing to do with the broader plot. But it all comes together into a beautiful whole. And this game, okay, the episodes aren't as good as the ones in Dragon Quest VII. They don't have thematic or emotional weight to them. But still, they're cute and they're fun. If the game had been twice as long and all the little episodic bullshit had eventually gave way to an actual plot, then I probably would have loved it, and even retroactively loved the bullshit meandering, because eventually it goes somewhere. But given that it's just the bullshit meandering, it's just like, all right, man. Anyway, 2.
Yeah. This last one's going to be weird because neither of you played it. So the last game is...
I played enough to give it a 1.
Yeah, Eli hates it.
Yeah. Is there a number lower than 1?
Yeah. So I am going to... So Anachronox would be a 3, but was brought down to a 2 for the last half of it. Blue Reflection, for me, would have been a 4, but it's a 3 because they start off with the worst Operation Babe Hunt in history, almost. I'm sure there's probably worse in like actual pervy on Front Street games instead of this was pervy as an afterthought. This game didn't have the pervy bits. It would be a 4, hands down. Like once we got past that part and I was just playing it, I was enjoying the shit out of the game. But you can't ignore the naked underage girls touching each other's boobs in the locker room that happens in the first 3 hours of gameplay. Like you can't get around that.
Shit's gross.
If you manage to get around that, the rest, like all of the meat of the game is great, and I really love it. And it feels a lot like Precure, which I'm obsessed with. it just Precure is wholesome, and this game is not, and that definitely brings it down. And I hammered that home a lot every episode about how it's a big disappointment because of its garbage at the beginning.
So Sam's giving it a 3 for the aforementioned reasons. Eli's giving it a 1 because he hated it. I didn't even play it on purpose because I was taking my little sabbatical. Thank God, in retrospect. Very well timed.
Yeah,
I'm going to give it a 1 because if I give it a 1, that means it totals 5, which is the only score we hadn't used yet. That's literally the only reason I'm giving it a 1, is because now we've assigned every possible number. Good job, everybody.
we did it. So, our next thing, we're going to have a musical break. Eli, what is another awesome song that you have loved in the history of this podcast?
Shit. Hold on, I gotta think back to all the music that we've listened to.
You can also just pick a game, and I'll pick my favorite from the game soundtrack. If
let's go with something. Oh, there's the really like upbeat like shit's happening music in Phoenix Wright.
Yes, it's so good.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we will do that and then be back for our lightning round.
How does this work?
All right, so our lightning round, we have only 1 minute, and it is a strict 1 minute. Our 3 minutes were not very strict. I let Maddy finish her thoughts a lot. But it was never you, Eli. It was Maddy. Every single time we went over about 2 minutes, it was Maddy. But, so this will be a strict 1 minute, probably even faster than that. We're just going to say one sentence that we like about it and give it a scale. This is for all of our bonus games. And if you didn't play it, you can just say what you think you might like about it, or you can just abstain and we just won't count those votes because it's a lightning round. There's 11. We want to get through this in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. So
Hold on, to make it even easier, let's do the same order each time. Eli, then Sam, then me.
Dope.
Sounds good.
All right. So first up is Higurashi.
3. It's not a game, but it was really, really good.
Awesome. I am going to give it I think I'm going to give it a 3 as well. I really liked it, but I like Umineko's idea of the conversation you're having with the writer is the game. I like that better in Umineko than I did in Higurashi, but it was still great.
2, because it's too scary.
Oh, I love scary.
Awesome. So,
to an extent.
Eli managed to speak one sentence about Undertale.
4, it's fucking amazing. And also I performed an Undertale song in Final Fantasy XIV, so I got to experience both of my game loves at once.
Hell yeah. I think this one is easily a 4. It's so good, and I still to this day haven't gone back to actually like engage with the part that everybody likes. Just the like loser route where you aren't all the way good and aren't all the way bad is a revelation, and I fucking love it.
2, because it's too scary.
Maddy's afraid of monsters, even if they're friendly.
It's got 2 skeletons in it. That's the scariest game on our list.
Too scary.
You're right.
So next up is Space Funeral.
I give this a 3. I think it was really good, but I don't remember a whole lot of it other than it was fucking weird. I'll have to replay it.
I am going to give it a 4 because it was freaking weird, but it also, like, it was our first ever bonus episode, and it established a lot of the ways that we talk about things. And I love the fact that at the end, if you spent a lot of time playing RPG Maker, you got the, like, joke reveal at the very end, and it was really, like, poignant and cool, and I liked it.
I did like that part, yeah. And you know what? I'm going to change it to a 4. I think it's 4 worthy.
2, because it's too scary. I'm just kidding. I wish I could do that bit, but it's one of my favorite games.
Maddie's afraid of all of our fucking bonus
I
games.
wish I could commit to this bit, but it is one of my favorite games of all time. I've said that many times, so y'all would obviously it's a 4.
Yeah. Next one is Dandy Dungeon. These are not in chronological order. These are in the order that I remembered them.
I will give this a 3 because I thought it was really cute, had a lot of heart, but also I couldn't finish it.
So I loved Dandy Dungeon a whole lot. I love the puzzle game that it is. It's my favorite Pokemon gym over and over again. And I thought the localization and just silliness of it was phenomenal.
So what was your number?
4. Go to 4.
I'm giving it a 4 because it's made for people who love Dragon Quest. Also, shout out Tim Rogers.
Yes. Our next game is Deltarune Chapter 1.
4. It's Toby Fox, and he did an amazing job, and it's a great spiritual successor to Undertale.
Yeah. I think I'm going to give it a 3. I loved it. Loved the crap out of it, but I didn't Undertale love it. So a 3.
I think it's significantly better than Undertale, and the one thing I specifically loved was that it had a shit ton of extremely important emotional, I'm assuming, setting things up for the sequel, and gut-punchingly significant plot in its victory lap, which is hilarious and clever. 4.
Yes. Nice.
The next game, this one's for me and Eli, is Dust to Dusk.
I'll give it a 3. Because it's too scary. It was great. It was really like creepy in a good way.
Yeah, I'm also giving it a 3. Shoutouts to Brittany, the localizer of all the Trails games that people like besides the new one, and she localized this game. And apparently it was her first time doing the translation and editing, and she got real drunk and happy when we said that we loved it on Twitter, which was great. So I loved that. Shout out to Francesco for filling in on that spooky episode. But Japanese RPG Maker horror games is a underloved genre, and they're all good.
I didn't play it, but I'm going to give it a 2 because it's too scary.
That's why you didn't play it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, the next game is Halo Combat Evolved for the Xbox video game system.
I didn't play it.
I am going to give it a 4. I loved it growing up, of course, and Halo 2 being better than it doesn't make it not a 4, which was, I thought that wouldn't be the case when I replayed it, but there's just so much good shit in Halo 1, and I fucking love it. It's a 4.
I'm going to give it a 3. I think I love the game with my entire heart, and I think it's an incredible game. However, specifically for the purposes of the podcast, we did it in 2 episodes, and all the good plot shit happens in the back half of the game, so it made it very weird to talk about. That's literally the only reason I'm giving it a 3 instead of a 4. No, wait, it's too scary.
It is too scary. Our next game is The Yokai's Curse. Eli didn't play it, probably doesn't even know what it is, but I
have no fucking clue.
I'm going to give this a 4 only because it was a weird experimental podcasting thing that we did. Me and Maddy, like, it wouldn't work on Maddy's computer, so me and Maddy started recording while we played through it together and like had our live reactions to it. And
that's cool.
That was really cool and a lot of fun. Kind of weird, and it didn't exactly work very well, but it was fun and weird to do, and the game was still good. I really liked it.
Yeah, I don't remember much about this game. I remember there was something that I strongly didn't like about it. I don't remember what. Just some kind of like, man, this is really getting in the way of the game for me, so I'm going to say 3.
Nice. Another weird one, Shuggy the Christmas Elf.
Also did not play this one.
I'm going to give it a 3. I feel it's probably actually a 2, but because it only reused Christmas music, I snuck in putting a Banjo-Kazooie song on the podcast, so that puts it up to a 3.
You know what? I was going to give it a 3, but actually I'd forgotten about that, so I'm knocking it down to a 2 for that reason.
Yeah, I did the big band brass version of Freeze Easy Peak, which is just the best Christmas song, so...
I'm giving it a 2 because I'm mad at Sam.
Next game on our list is Hive Swap Act 1.
I didn't play this one, but won because Homestuck. Just to make you two mad.
No,
I think I'm going to give it a 4. Gameplay wise, it was fine, but there are text conversations that you have with Xerox or whatever his name is, and like your heart just breaks for him when you realize that like he's a fucking nerd and nobody likes him, and he's afraid that you won't like him either. And it's just good, and I had a lot of emotions doing the ancillary game content around that game.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 3. No strong critiques. I just fucking loved it and don't think it's quite a 4.
Yeah. Next game on the list is Eternal Senia.
I mean, I was impressed with it for what it was, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4. I thought it was pretty good. Like, localization was rough, but
yeah. I am also going to give it a 4. The emotional oomph of like the actual plot stuff there towards the end is great. So much so that I played the shit out of Eternal Senia 2, the phone game, which is not nearly as good. It is basically an auto-clicker visual novel, but the feeling stuff is still there, and it's really good. So it's also free. Both of them are. So go enjoy some free game.
I think, to be totally fair, I would be giving it a 2. However, I don't know. Shout out to people who make things on an extremely low budget and put their heart into it and try their best. Like, is it a bit of a participation trophy? Yes, but I think that's fine. I think that there should be a million games like Eternal Senia.
Absolutely.
If everyone played more games like this in general throughout the year and fewer enormous budget AAA games, I think we'd have richer lives. So yeah. 3, glad it exists. Bring on, good job to the creator. Love what you're doing.
Our next game is Parasite Eve.
Didn't play it.
I did play it, and I freaking loved it. I thought it would be more survival horror than it was, but it ended up being like a supernatural Die Hard, which is fucking cool, and I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, I adore it. I think 4 out of 4. I couldn't believe how much I liked it.
Yeah. Did I say my score? Because I was giving it a 4. I don't know if I said it.
Best. Here's my actual sentence. Some of the best pre-rendered backgrounds I've ever seen in a video game.
Oh yeah, fucking phenomenal. Also, with phenomenal graphics is Lent by our good friend Sister Orator, which I know Eli did not play.
Oh yeah, no.
So
I didn't play any of these remaining bonus games.
Yeah, so Lent. So the next 3 games were on mine and Maddy's like indie game Electric Boogaloo that we played 3 games all less than an hour long, and Lent makes me really sad because I loved it and I thought that it was going to go in like cool, interesting places. It could probably be up there with Undertale, but Sister Orator's Unity crashed and took the game with it, so it's gone forever, which sucks because it was awesome.
Yeah, I have the exact same feeling. I like the heck out of it and wish that the rest of it existed.
Yeah.
It's hard to even give it a score in that case. Let's say 3 to cut the difference.
Yeah.
But like it's because of the universe.
Yeah. So the next one is Melon Journey. I think Melon Journey is one of the best NPC dungeon proof of concepts out there. Like, you had to go through the whole town and talk to everybody to find all of the things to start putting the puzzle together in your head of how to get to the thing and do the thing. And every character was silly, and every character was like unique, and it was great, and I loved it.
100 number?
4.
Cool. 100% agree on most of what you said. However, I think there are similar games that are the exact same thing that I would say are better. PC dungeon style games. There's some other ones that I think are better. I'm gonna give it. I was gonna give it a 2, but now I just feel mean. Whatever, I'll still give it a 2. I was gonna say something in particular. Oh, 2, because it's too scary.
Yeah. Melon Journey 2 has trailers out. I don't think the game's out yet, but Melon Journey 2 looks fucking phenomenal.
Oh, I remembered my joke. It's not as good as Kramer Hentai Quest.
God damn it. So, another NPC dungeon game that we played that week was Escape Chasm by Timmy of Undertale fame, and it was fucking great. Everything about it was phenomenal. Actually, changed my answer to Melon Journey. Melon Journey was a 3, Escape Chasm is a 4. Escape Chasm is like a level beyond Melon Journey.
Exactly. Great. If we're putting them together, one of them is clearly better than the other. Escape Chasm, I'll give it a 4 as well. Hell yeah. Great job, Timmy.
Yeah, so fucking good. So that brings us to the end of our lightning round, and the next thing on our list.
Are we doing any more music?
Sure. Eli, what's another song you want us to pick?
Battle Hymn for Everyone's Souls from
what a good
fucking
one.
Persona 3.
Yeah,
is one of my all-time favorite pieces of music from the games that we played.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah. So our secret, our last thingy has joined the chat. Introduce yourself, secret person.
Hey, Eli, it's Michael. Hi, how are you?
Oh my God, you're back.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi. Are you replacing me? Am I fading out from existence and you're taking my place again?
No, this is no Kingdom Hearts game. I'm just coming here to pop in for the episode and say hi. Listen, I'm really glad that you said that you really wanted the Persona 3 music, because after how I heard your slander about Persona 3, I was very emotional about that. And then I heard I heard that like Maddy didn't like what is it, Legend of Dragoon's combat, and I'm like, okay, so I guess we got bad opinions going around everywhere today. All right, I just wanted to apologize for everybody for the slander that came out of Eli. I'm going to tell you something. The one thing that I really appreciate about you when I think about the RPG book club is, I'm a very hardcore gamer. It's actually very intimidating for some people, like Nancy, who I do a podcast with, because I like to be competitive, and she's like, oh, I'm just here for the fun. And but what I realized with people like Nancy and I guess what kind of makes me think about with us is that you really remind me about like how enjoyability, intuitiveness, and readability in a video game are all so important, because I realize that I will tough out anything if I'm obsessed with it, and you won't, and I love that about you. You have a limit. You will put your foot down. You're like, fuck this, and I'm like.
There have been so many times Eli is like, here's my objective reason why this sucks, and I'm like, I have no objection to anything you just said.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm a fucking psycho who thinks that that's good instead of bad.
Yeah. I really love that about you.
Actually, I can't prove you wrong. I'm just an idiot who thinks that things that suck are good.
Yeah, I really gotta say that, I really appreciate how you remind me that a game is a game, and that I should enjoy it I should play it to enjoy it, and not necessarily to always scratch an obsessive itch. And I'm proud of you in so many ways, because I remember when we first started the podcast, you didn't feel like you would say a lot, and I really do feel like the Eli then and now are at least a little different in how they express themselves, and I love the fact that you will be like, this was awful, I fucking hate this. I love how I just could, like, that's not really how you were. You were so like nice and just like, you didn't really want to like offend anybody, and here you're just like, no, Mama, I'm tired. Like, you know what I mean? And I love how you actually said like, oh, here comes Eli. Like, I hate every game. And I'm like, you should absolutely play into like that slant. Like, I really think that's your strong suit. Really? Like,
it's okay to be a hater.
Honestly, like,
so,
go ahead.
To explain, when we first started this podcast, Sam's whole thing was, we have to be positive boys. We have to be positive. And, we can't hate on these games. We're playing them because we want to enjoy them and we want to love them. But I just got to a point where I was like, no, this is bullshit.
Yeah. Well, they're RPGs, and this is what they feel like.
Yeah, and I do think that, like, I don't think we ever really gone against that, because, like, we're never, like, insulting, like, the guys who made the games and being like,
No.
Between, like, it's not like, how there's some YouTubers out there who just, like, their whole bit is just like, I'm going to get engagement by being a negative asshole.
I think Septerra Core sucks, but I don't think the people who made it suck. And I'm never going to come down on them for trying their hardest, because they definitely did. I can tell that this is a game that they put their heart and soul into, even if it didn't come out as a game with much heart and soul. Like, I never want to be that guy, but I spent a lot of time being nervous about, like, well, I'm not really enjoying this. Is it okay for me to talk about that? But yeah, I mean, over the last 4 years, I've finally gotten to the point where I've shed a lot of my fucks.
Yeah, and the thing that I love about you, Eli, and it's proof of the fact that you are a positive boy even when you hate things, is we just went through and ranked all of them, and you gave, like, what, 3 games a 1? You yelled at every single game on this list at length, 4 hours, and yet at the end you were like, this fucking sucked. 3 out of 4. Great.
It's great.
Rogue Galaxy can still get fucked.
And I love how my favorite thing about you rating it is that you were like, all these you hated Rogue Galaxy, and then you follow it with like Sailor Moon, which was a rough game to play, and you're like, oh no, I love this, and I'm like, what the shit is going on right here? What shenanigans are? Listen, I'm just, seeing how you are just so much more upfront about the things that you think and feel is really radical. You've always been a favorite of mine. I love you so much.
I love you too.
And I don't know. I'm happy that you are really liking Final Fantasy XIV. I literally have to play my console games, and that's the reason why I have not touched that game, because I want to play Sage so bad to fulfill like my damage healer fantasy, and I just know that if I touch that game, I'm going to be lost. Hell no. I can't do it right now. I can't do it.
I gotta say, on the idea of like being, like, taste is very complicated. We're not talking about FF14 right now. That'll be for the future. But before we started this recording, I did send a bunch of messages to the private chat with the 3 of us, being like, yeah, in the bit of FF14 that I've played, which is about halfway through 7th Astral Era, I'm like, the battle system's boring, the world building is uninteresting and largely nonsensical, the plot is dumb. It's one of the things I've ever played.
Wow. Yeah, I played through Shadowbringers, so I really do understand like why the story plots are. I get why Eli loves it, especially coming from like an MMO space. I see why he loves it.
Walker will change your fucking life.
Oh my god, don't tell me that. That's how I feel about Shadowbringers. Jesus Christ.
I know.
I will be like degenerate trash with that game and be like, I am a sage, because I will do that.
When you do play, please talk to me about it.
Okay.
Like, constantly as much as you can, because I need more people to geek out with about it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely will. I want to make a male Vieira because I am trash.
Oh, yes.
Of course
I am
you
really
do.
awful.
The man buns are so good.
They're so hot.
good. They're all like beautiful trans men, and it's wonderful.
They're hot. I don't care. They're hot. I don't know, man. I'm really happy that we did this together, you know, because like you really do remind you remind people that like if you're not enjoying this shit, don't do it. And
As the famous Sharzone meme says, if it sucks, hit the bricks.
Yeah, you know, and you really, I mean, like, here's the thing, like, you also, like, the nature of a book club is that, like, you just need to know the story and follow along. And so, like, even if you're not playing it, if you're watching a walkthrough and you're like, oh, I'm cheating, it's fine. I've never personally had an issue with it because what I cared about was your opinion about it. Not necessarily the fact that you, like, played through it. I like hearing like, what's funny about you playing through a story that you enjoyed, you know what I mean? Like playing through a game that you hate, but a story that you enjoyed, like Persona 3, is that like that same opinion that you give. You're like, wow, I hate this fucking game, but the story was great, and I love it. And, you know, it's so funny to me, and you know, I gotta say, like, you really do. You know me personally, and like I'm such a hardcore person, and I guess I'm coming to an age, you know, because I'm an old hoofer, that I've realized that like I have to enjoy games, and I'd rather keep people around me like you, because like you will be like, fuck that shit, and I need to be like that. I truly do. I love you for it. Just thank you for being there. Just also, like, you always articulate things really well. You always get to the point. You never waste time. You always like you it's just I love you. I can't wait to have you on Viva Geek with me and Nancy for an episode, just so that we could dish out again, because
I'd fucking love to do that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I would love it.
I have said millions of times that Eli is the heart and soul of this podcast, and I stand by that, because like there's a thing that I learned in game design fairly recently. I don't remember who I learned it from. I think it was OG Plus Cast mentioned this about Ultima being ridiculously broken in Final Fantasy VI, but the game doesn't lose if the player wins, and Eli's journey through this.
He's review of DQ5.
Maybe so, but because I'd never read his review of DQ5 because I hadn't played it yet until the podcast, and I wanted to do it. So it might have been similar vibes, but Eli, with going through this podcast, was like that all the time. Like most of these games, he had cheat codes on, or put it on one of those mercury birds that drinks out of a water could beat this game. Just put it over the A button. That's how easy you have it set. And like you still loved Lost Odyssey, whose gameplay is my favorite thing about it is the smushing together of all of the gameplay, and you took all of that out and you still loved it, because engaging with art doesn't have to be the same way for everybody. And video games is the art form that people seem to forget that about, because like in like reading books, like there are people that'll read the last page first and then do it, and who cares? That's fine. They'll do audiobooks. Who cares? That's fine. They'll read a wiki summary because they're just kind of interested in the world but don't want to sit there and read the thousands of pages to get through the series. Like we've all agreed that that's okay. But in video games, people are like, no, you have to play Sekiro on all the way hard, and that's the only way to engage with games. And that's not how Eli does things at all.
Growing up, one of the things that my dad told me was the only thing more pointless than playing a video game is watching someone play a video game. I spent a lot of time on this podcast watching people play video games.
You know, I do gotta say, just that, like, the way that you can just talk succinctly about what you do or don't like, I think is one of my favorite things about you, coming from people who talk so much. I just like that about you. You're able to give it to me straight, like, Do you like it? Yes, no. And you can even go, you can talk long-winded about it or not. And generally, if you don't like something, you will be succinct about it. And I'm personally a fan of that because you are funny when you don't want to talk about something. You are funny. You are funny, Eli. You are so funny. I love you, dude. You're great. You're great. I couldn't, see you take a hiatus or a break for whatever you got to do without just letting you're fantastic. And
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, well, of the three main people who were part of the podcast, and not just popping into one episode to say hi, Eli is the only one of us who is engaged in a very, very difficult and very terrifying labor struggle right now. So, fucking shout out to Eli for that, for being on the front edge of that. Obviously, I don't want to talk too much about it because there's degrees of privacy, secrecy, etc. when it comes to labor struggle, but holy shit, it's one of the most important things to happen. It's one of the most important things to happen in the video game industry in the last decade, and you're right there in the middle of it. So fucking good.
I hope you're doing a lot to take care of yourself in the middle of it too. But we'll talk about that. We can talk about that later. We can talk about it, together.
I am proud of Eli in the way that supposedly, I don't know this because my dad sucked, but apparently dads will show up to the kids' fucking chess club meets and scream their asses off, be so proud of their kid and have no idea what's going on. That is me with Eli, with all of whatever the fuck it is you do on Final Fantasy 14. Don't understand it. You've explained it to me so many times and I don't understand it. And your Discord has 3 times the amount of people that mine does.
Are we playing the same game? What?
Yeah, for those, I don't know how much I've talked about it on the podcast, but I started a fight club in Final Fantasy 14
they
last
would
August.
go along with that. They would do that. Yes, they would.
The way that I found out about this was so funny because it was Eli's I'm very upset today, and I'm like, oh, that sucks. Then Eli's it's because of drama, and I'm like, oh, that sucks. I hate it when people are being shitty drama. And then he's it's because of Final Fantasy 14 drama. And I'm like, oh yeah, man, guilds, are they called guilds? Free companies. Free companies can be so tough with the drama. I'm sure that people weren't showing up to the raids, and I'm sure some of them were dating, and they broke up. And then Eli's yeah, it's the drama with my virtual fight club that I run. And I'm like,
I wish to live your life.
It was record scratch. Yeah. I'm sorry, you lost me.
Can you just imagine just walking in and Eli's just looking stressed and he's like, guys, oh my god, help. And we're like, what's going on? He's just my fight club. Okay. You don't understand. It's so much. And I wish, I love that. I love this. This is my favorite.
To give a brief rundown of the story of what happened, I had been... So I'm a role player. I had been working at this place called the Radiant Plume, and I had become their announcer for their fights. And it was a fight night event that they did every other Thursday. I was really fucking involved. And the owner of it came to me in May and went, hey, so I can't do this anymore. Could you take over? And I went, fuck yeah, I can. And I took over for an entire day. I changed one rule and everybody fucking lost their shit. So basically they had a rule that it was okay for you to be under 18 at the fight club. This fight club did not have any rules other than don't kill anyone and don't burn down the venue. So it was a very anything goes kind of thing. It was blood sport. Mm-hmm. It was blood sport. And they were allowing children to participate. Now, when I was just an employee, that was one thing. It was not my place to say what could or couldn't happen. However, once I took over, I didn't feel comfortable running the fight club where children could participate in blood sport. Mm-hmm. Yes, there are spunky anime teens. However, there's a significant difference between someone writing a character in a video game that's like rated by the ESRB as a spunky anime teen who gets into big brutal fights, and some jack off from the internet writing a spunky anime teen who's like, this person is in their 30s and they're playing someone who's 16. Like, to me, that's a little weird.
It is.
So I changed that rule to 18 plus, and everyone just went absolutely bliss. Like, I expected there to be some grumbling and some people leaving the Discord. They fucking tore into me.
Nice.
Like, that was the real blood sport. Was them coming after me.
The real blood sport was the enemies you made along the way.
And boy, did I make a lot of enemies, to the point that I ended up Twitter canceled.
Oh my god.
Extremely funny.
Over changing the rule to because I had made a tweet that was my true downfall. I had tweeted out something like, if the only bad thing they can say about me is that I no longer allowed children to come to the fight club, then I'll take it. And someone found that tweet and took a screenshot and pasted it in the chat, and that was the PNR, the point of no return.
Wow.
There was no going back from that point, and I just like threw up my hands and went, okay, I'll leave. And I took my friends with me, and I spent a couple of days being absolutely fucking miserable, and then I went, no, you know what? I have a house. I can make my own fucking fight club.
With blackjack and hookers.
And hookers, yeah. Except not hookers, because the character that I play there is very, very asexual. He would revolt if hookers were involved.
I am fully gonna like just make a character on your realm and like be
if
like
you're on the Crystal Data Center at all, you can come.
I'd be like a secret investigator. Really, like if anybody would like break the rules, I like whisper around. I'm like, "Hey, you want to go ahead and do some illegal Fight Club stuff?" You know what I mean?
Okay, cop. I can't believe you're gonna do virtual Fight Club.
We're upholding the law in Eli's world. Okay.
Our Fight Club is morgue themed.
That's so cool.
You're gonna do Eli like they did Hoffa.
I'm gonna make a character because I'm not even really into RPing like that, but I will make a character, and for the sake of continuity, I'll stay in character and like report back on what that was like, because that would be fun. I would love that. Holy shit, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Hey, I want to pause real quick. I'm really enjoying this. I actually need to leave, but I don't want to ruin everyone's fun time. So, do you mind if I just report the top and bottom games, sign off, and then y'all can just keep hanging?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I'm actually going to do all the games. By combining games that have the same score, we can identify a number of tiers. So our top tier is a trio of games that are just completely unsurprising. We're not breaking any ground. We're not having unique, unusual, avant-garde taste. The top three games of all time on our podcast are Final Fantasy X, Phoenix Wright, and Chrono Trigger.
What a shock!
What a shock. That's with 12 points. With 11 points, games that are also incredible, except I think specifically because of me not thinking they're quite as good, Dragon Quest V and Lost Odyssey. Games that are amazing, but not quite on the same level as the other ones. Next, with 10 points, we've got Legend of Dragoon and Danganronpa. With 9 points, I think it's really funny to say these games are all the same quality, because I think they're all very lumpy games. Brave Story New Traveler, Tales of Symphonia, and Persona 3 are apparently, according to us, the same equally good games. Also equally good games are Xenogears, Lunar, and Sailor Moon Another Story. Yeah, it's a little funny when you put it that way, right? Next, we've got in its own tier with 7 points, Anachronox. In its own tier, Cosmic Star Heroine. In its own tier, Blue Reflection. And then with a 4 points, Septerra Core. And then to me, the funniest thing about this is not just that FFX, Phoenix Wright, and Chrono Trigger are our favorite games, but that it's not surprising to me that Rogue Galaxy and Septerra Core are the worst games we've ever played on this podcast. But it is funny that we do, as much as we hated it, apparently think that Septerra Core is better than Rogue Galaxy. I'm the one who, for the record, that's because of me. I'm the one who gave it. But
your fault.
It is literally a worse game, and yet I am giving it 2 instead of a 1. Whatever, it's confusing. Anyway, that's what's going on with these games. So yeah, it's been really
beautiful.
It's been really. I'm going to sign off here. It's been a wonderful couple of years. We've all gone through ridiculous personal life arcs over the course of the last almost 4 years. It's been an absolute pleasure playing through these kind of 20 games with Eli. I was on hiatus for the most recent one. Very, very much looking forward to having you back whenever you feel like it, but especially if you ever play Mother 3. Or whatever other fucking game you want to play. If I hear that you're going to show up,
we're talking about Final Fantasy 14 at some point. It's gonna fucking happen.
If I hear that you're going to be joining us for a game, I'll probably make a loud, excited noise that my girlfriend will ask, "What is that?" Yeah, that's it. It's been great. And also, Rizzo, really, really good to see you again. Okay.
You too.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye, Maddy. I love you.
Yeah, I gotta say the same. I don't know, Eli. I'm always, I'm always here to talk or chat or to speak or whatever. But I don't know. I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of, I guess, thinking about, when we first started and now thinking about how opinionated you are and just like how you're just, I don't know. I'm really glad that I've known you this long. Gosh, I can't believe that I'm thinking about that now. But I've known you for so long and I'm just so proud of where we both have come. You know what I mean? We've both done a lot of work and we're both in different places. And, I love you a lot. I'm so proud of you. You're just everything,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Eli, when you told me that you were going to be stepping down as co-host, you had said that people wouldn't miss you, and that is factually false. I stacked the chat tonight. We normally have 0 people in chat, and we have 5 people listening today because they all wanted to be here to see you off. And several people that I reached out to be like, hey, this is going to be Eli's last day. They're like, oh, I can't make it, but let him know that I loved it. For example, Jimmy the Shovel said that in Chrono Trigger, he loved hearing your particular take on everything as Baby Fresh Eyes, and that it elevated the podcast, and that was the first one that they had found out. They had searched for Chrono Trigger, found the podcast there, and it was because of you that they stuck around. And that similar sentiment was all over everybody that I talked to. You are, like I said, you are the heart and soul of this podcast, and
you're the best.
I love you so much, man.
I'm really proud of you.
I love you guys too.
Oh, Elon. No, don't ever apologize. You should never apologize. I mean, listen, man. You've always been just so exceptionally nice and loving and wonderful and always willing to listen and speak. And I'm really happy that you've come so far in being able to like voice the things that you need or want or how you even feel, because like you have never sounded weird, you have never sounded odd, you are kind of like, if I'm Katya, you have to be the Trixie, where like I am a fucking hot mess and you have a business and you're running shit and you are like successful. Okay, because like you really got your life together in ways that I just don't, honey. And so like truly, it's just like you really deserve the best, and so you're just everything, like if there's anybody that I know that really just deserves it, because like he's You're not only you work well, you are a good friend, you listen, you stay out of people's way, you don't want to harm anybody at all, you just want to enjoy your shit. It's you, and you really deserve it all. I'm always rooting for you. I want to support every project that you do because, like, Eli, I'm a fan of yours, you know, and you are like somebody that people love to listen to, you know, like you are just great. Thank God for you, because if it weren't for people like you, I'd be fucking talking all day. You know what I mean? And God, I cannot have that. God, I just can't.
You get so tired.
I would. This is exhausting. Please take it over.
Yeah, I love the crap out of you, Eli, and like I mentioned the other day, my first 6 months at Blizzard, I was at the Blizzard Family Day at main event, and I knew nobody. I was in my own world. I was overwhelmed. I didn't know anything, and because I had one time to ask you what would you think about a Digimon MMO, and you're like, Digimon is for posers, I only want to talk about Pokemon. check in on me and talk to me that day, and it stuck around me so much that because me and Rizzo tried starting this as just a guild group, it offline or technically online, but not on mic at Blizzard, just in our internal stuff, and nobody would do it with us. And so when I was maybe we should just do this as a podcast, I was but I think we would need a third person. I instantly went to you and thought of you because you're a great person, and And I knew that you wouldn't say no because you have anxiety about telling people no.
There's this part
I mean, that's accurate, yes.
There's this part of you that really reminds me of Nancy, right? In that, you and I may approach video games differently, but I don't think that they are clashing colors. I think they complement each other on a wheel. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's how I see it, is that you really are you really are so opinionated, and you are kind of sassy. You know what I mean? When you want to be a little sassy, Eli will be, and you always will preface it with I'm sorry, but, and it's really funny because you don't usually have to do that since you are so well grounded and very rational. But really, I think that everything that you say is either funny or just yep, I can't fight Eli with it. You know, you are it's either just you are comical for the sake of being comical, or maybe you don't even know it. That's the thing that I love about you too. Sometimes you just talk and I'm like, does he know the real world value of what the fuck is? Sometimes I just want to put you on TV. You know, it's just funny. It's just funny. And you're just, I'm glad that you're doing your YouTube. I'm glad that you're getting back into something that you enjoy for RPing. And when we started this, I knew that we needed somebody that was not like me or Sam, and I really couldn't ask for anybody better, because I think that you really kind of snap people like us out of the way that we kind of think when we play video games. I can sometimes take some video games like a job, and that's not fun for me. And I know that I can always count on you to lean in on that. And I prefer that. And so I gotta say, just thank you for reminding me about what video games are about. Thank you for always being true to how you feel about a video game. Because it really reminds me, no matter how much I stan it, no matter how much I love Persona, there are some mechanics that I fucking hate. And it's okay. It is okay to say that, okay?
Yes.
And I love that. You really do remind me that it's okay to just if you don't like it, it's fine. You can still love it. And just thank you for everything that thank you. You're just, your presence, your opinions, your words, they are so valuable. And that's one more thing before I go. You were one of the only things that made me feel safe when I first got to this job. You were the only thing that one of the things that made me feel safe. And you didn't even say a lot to me. You just really introduced yourself. You got it out the way. But I think knowing that your presence was there was really reassuring and safe. Because even though we would always talk about certain things that we went through, you never judged me. You never even bothered orbiting around my Latinidad. You were just there to listen. And you just really have done such a great job in being someone that is always friendly, always there to talk, and whenever if there's an issue, you immediately recognize it. You see people's problems, you really do. And I just like, knowing you has been a real privilege, and I'm just so glad to know you. But you know, when me and Sam were talking about this, we would not go on and make it without a third person, and it had to feel right. And you have always felt like without you, it would almost feel like it's too clinical. You know what I mean? Without you, it's too clipboard and paper, clipboard and pen, and you really add an element of realism that people feel. Like, more people are like you than us, and I think that you need to understand that. And I just love you. You know, like, you are really great. Just thank you so much. Just like, thank you for teaching me so much. Thank you for reminding me of like perspectives that I really need to hold close to myself before my obsessiveness kind of gets a hold of me. And just like, I don't know what to say. How do you tell somebody thank you for being you without sounding like an episode of Golden Girls? Which, by the way, I feel like I'm very fine with looking like. Yeah. You know, I feel like very fine with that at my age.
Honestly, Golden Girls should be a level to which we all aspire.
Truly. So just, I mean, I say all that to say just like, Eli, you're wonderful. You're amazing. Thank you. I love you. Just like, what do you say? What do you say? I love you. Yeah. You're the guys.
So, Eli, to wrap us up, since there are bajillions of Eli fans listening, where can people find you on your next and greatest?
So mainly you're gonna find me in Final Fantasy 14. I'm my current Twitter that I'm on way too frequently is Kaito Seibaku. It is KaitoSeibaku. That is where I post everything related to my trash pile of an Aura that I play on Final Fantasy, along with some OOC thoughts, artwork that I've done. I've actually gotten back into drawing some, more than I was for a long time. I do commissions now. If you want Discord emoji, I mainly do Discord emoji of Final Fantasy 14 OCs, but I can do other things as well if you want. But the commission info is pinned to the top of my Kaito Seibaku Twitter. If you're on the Crystal Data Center, I'm on the Malboro Realm. That is where my Fight Club takes place. It is the first and third Thursday of every month. And you can find information about that at morgue, MORGUE, -xiv.crd.co. That is the card for our venue. It gives all the information about where to find us, when to find us, etc. Our next event is going to be on January 6th. It's going to be Starlight Festival themed because we've taken a break for Endwalker, and which means we're going to miss actual Starlight Festival, but it's fine. Yeah. We have tournaments once a quarter that's going to lead up to our anniversary tournament in August. It's going to be a tournament of champions. It's going to be really fun. And I also do performances on Kaito. He sings some really funny / raunchy shit. Works as a stripper. It's great. Like I said, the lizard is a trash pile. But if you ever want to check him out, he performs mainly at the Songbirds Lounge on the first Monday of every month, and the Still in Strings on the first Friday of every month. And if you're looking for details about those, you can check out my Twitter, or you can contact me. And then my Discord is Malvalen, MAL_VALEN number 9715. You're more than welcome to message me on Discord. I'm happy to chat whenever. I'm literally always around.
It's true. Like
And-
I'll be up late playing Final Fantasy 14. It'll be like 3 a.m. and I'm like, so she just fucked a dragon, right? And Eli will instantly be like, yeah.
Yeah, she sure fucking did. It's great. Yeah, please, I'm begging you, come geek out about Final Fantasy with me. I'm so obsessed. And like, when you all know me, when I love something, I love it with all of my heart and soul. Even the parts that I hate, I will still find things to love about it. So please feel free to come geek out with me. And you know, or even if you just want someone to talk to listen to you, I'm more than happy to do that. And I'm not going to be far. I mean, like I said, I want to do an episode about Final Fantasy 14. If Deltarune Chapter 2 ever happens, like we were planning but didn't get to,
Yeah.
I want to come back for that.
Absolutely.
And you know, if there's ever a game that's brought up as one of the main games that they're playing, that really speaks to me, I will probably be clawing at Sam to let me be on the show again. Oh my god.
Yeah, but when we sell out and play Final Fantasy 6, Eli will probably be there.
Yes. Hell yeah. Final Fantasy 4 also good.
Yeah.
I would be there for that too. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to plug. I know it was a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of information that means practically nothing to most people, I'm sure. But I mean, my main character on Final Fantasy is Kaito Akaruta, Kaito, aka Ruta. It is a nonsensical Japanese last name. It wasn't made up by me. I don't want to go into it. It's a long story, and there's a lot of drama involved. Regardless, he is on Malboro, so if you ever want to come hang out with me in Final Fantasy, feel free to hit me up. It really truly did. I'm so glad.
Me too.
So good hearing you speak out you did at work during that meeting with Ian.
Yeah.
I was very, very proud of.
Oh, you know, thank you. I was not terrified at all. I was not terrified at all. And after I did it, I told Mikey Barra that I did it myself. I have nerve. I told him myself that I did it. Yeah, and I certainly, especially like, well, you know what? I'll tell you about it after. I just want to say one last thing. I'm so glad that we chose to do this. You really, you two really have just been a blessing in my life, and I'm not somebody that. I know I'm not great with communicating and like how I feel and stuff like that, and it's a fault of mine. Call me a bitter gay guy, whatever. I don't give a shit. Like that's fine. I'll eat that stereotype, right? But, you know, you guys mean a lot to me. I hold you very close in my heart, and when I think of like, you know, the RPG book club, I think of just us really just being nerds sitting at a table just talking to each other about video games. And really, you have always kept that essence, and I can't wait to see what else happens, but just I'm really happy that somewhere on the internet is immortalized, you know, the time that we spent with each other. So thanks, because you guys are really great, and I appreciate you guys a lot. And that's all before I start crying, because I'm not going to be that. I'm not doing that shit on here. No, I have a dog.
You already made me cry.
I have a dog to walk. I'm not doing that outside. Oh my god. like in the cold weather in a sweater, just like sobbing. No, I'm not doing that. I really.
Oh my God. Cold. It's 43 degrees. That's not cold.
Oh my God.
18 degrees outside right now. You know nothing.
Jesus Christ, that sounds awful. No, but seriously, I'm so proud of where we are and where you've been and where you've gone and where you're going to be. And I will always be your bard. You know, I'm always here to support you. I'm always going to be that for you. I promise.
I love you both, and I'm so happy that you invited me to do this. And honestly, I'm still torn about dropping out.
It's okay.
And because it really does mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
And I never wanted it to come off as I'm not having fun or I'm not invested or anything like that. There's just so much shit going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes life hits you hard, you know? And you were there for me when life had hit me very, very hard too, you know? And that's important to remember. And, you know, you are so deserving of, you know, taking time off and needing it for yourself. And you know what? This is the show business. Just because you leave now doesn't mean you won't make a return. All right? This is nothing but smoke. You guys don't have no idea what is out here doing this show business. There's so much smoke and mirrors. Getting the agents and the bookings. Eli needs a break, damn it. So you guys have no idea what it's like to make these Hollywood starlet shows. You know what I mean? It just takes work. So good for you. You know. We'll be creeping here in the book of like, you'll be back. You know,
I mean,
in the hidden,
there's a very strong possibility that it's not going to last.
In the hidden crevices somewhere of like of a bookshelf, like of a library labyrinth, you'll find the RPG book club.
skittering across the ceiling on my weird lizard man.
Everybody in the RPG book club is just like an arbiter of time in the library of time, and just like everybody. And no, seriously, I don't know how to say. Just I'll stop talking because I got to go walk my dog anyway. But you're just everything. I love you a lot. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us. Sam. I'm so glad that Sam asked me to come here and say this because you deserve it. And I just thank you, Sam, for inviting me, and thanks Eli for just like being you. You know, thank you for being you. You're fabulous. You're wonderful. Thanks. You're it.
I love you both so much. Thank you. And everybody who's listening, thank you for supporting me all this time. It really means the world to me.
And we will continue to, and if they don't, they'll hear from me and Koji.
and Eli, just in case you never come back, which you probably will, but just in case, I want you to be able to sign us off. So, for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I've been Eli. Did I misunderstand how this works?
I don't know how it's supposed to be either.
It's been forever since Rizzo was here, but we'll do me, then Rizzo, then Eli, and then Eli will say our sign off. So, for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
And I have been Michael Rodriguez.
And I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren. Toodaloo!